Hey, so what's up, guys? This is your boy Patience. I started coming to you guys with a little new one. Now, this one I want to talk a little bit more about something slightly different today. See, now I watched some of the Xbox showcase, and they were showcasing some of their most favorites on this, and it was going pretty darn neat. Now we saw Gears of War. What's up, Pants Nine shout outs. We used to do a little thing on the Gears of War back in the days. But they showed the Gears of War E-Day, and that was looking a bit sloppy to start with. But as we got into the video, it started looking pretty darn neat. They were saying that they were working with Unreal Engine 5 at first. I was thinking, I don't think so. But then it started looking a little bit more to the point, and I was like, yeah, it actually does look good. It looked like an evolved situation from the Gears of War that I once played quite a while back. This is back in 2012 or somewhere there, and I used to kick about, or even before then, I used to kick about playing Gears of War with one of my online mates. But anywho, so I was relatively satisfied with that. Besides that, every other showcase within the Xbox situation, if you ask me, was looking a little bit too slacky on the graphics side of things, guys. And I don't know why, but I was getting a lot of Nintendo vibes as well. Now, Xbox was one of my most favorite and fondest consoles to go to. Obviously, once I migrated or immigrated away from the PlayStation situations. So I migrated to the Xbox. So I was on the Xbox 360, and from there I went PC. I didn't bother going on to the series because obviously I felt at the time that the PCs were offering a hell of a lot more. Given all this time looking at some of the showcase, some of the products that they be showcasing, I was very disappointed because a lot of the graphics looked a bit underrated, if you ask me. There was a few titles that they brought out that looked outstanding. One of them was Crossfire. So although it was based on Gears of War, I felt like Crossfire really stole the attention, and that's a title that I'm very interested in. Unfortunately, I likely will not get it on the Xbox, but I will be getting it on the PC, guys, because obviously you get better fidelity, you get better frames, better everything. So that's what I'm gonna be. Remember, guys, when we go out and we spend the amount of loot that we do on our upgrades. So, we're buying a lot of components within our devices. We don't buy these things so we can sit down and play Sonic the Hedgehog. So we got to keep that in mind, guys. We're trying to break the rules of physics here. This is computer science, and we want to see how far we can push our devices. Taking that into consideration, there were a few titles that they did give a shout out. Halo was looking a bit Nintendo-y to me. Something that you sit down and just play around on. It looked fun. It looked gimmicky. But it did, I didn't feel like I had evolved through time. And then they had Fable, which was one that I was really looking out for. But it looks like they kind of shift the attention from the character that we were used to something entirely different. Though I've heard that it's the last boss, but I like to see a little bit more of the gameplay. However, Tomb Raider, I've been seeing the actress's face on multiple characters within the gaming verse. I think it's in Call of Duty, and there's another game, and now Tomb Raider. And it is a relatively attractive chick, but Lara Croft is obviously a very, 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 very pretty chick, and so that's something that I would really like to see. Another thing was her bust was a bit deflated and saggy. She usually steals the attention. She usually has a nice rump to go with it, so a nice buttocks, because you like to pan the camera around, you like to get those little pretty shots, screensavers. So these are things that I do like to focus on, and things I felt like were missing from our Lara Croft. Also, her animations are a bit too they're not girly enough for me. I guess you could say Anniversary was where they really kind of picked it up and brought out her feminism. And ever since the reboot trilogy, I felt like they've kind of crippled her a little bit from her feminism and brought back that kind of masculine kind of walk. I don't think it's really attractive. I don't think it's sexy. I don't think it's Lara Croft at all. And it really does turn me off. And I don't want to be turning off that game. I'm not going to buy it on its release simply because I'd rather see other uploaders invest their time into it so I can see if it's worth my time. Taking that into consideration, there were other aspects. Alien Isolation was something else that was a letdown because a lot of gaming nowadays does go to online. I guess that's where the ticket's going. And we do make a lot of friends online just as we do in real life nowadays. And so isolation is something hard to comprehend. We had the first version and I felt like it was okay, but I couldn't really watch it, something I most certainly couldn't play. And then you're coming out with Isolation 2. I don't know, something just doesn't it doesn't catch. Again, the whole graphics, fidelity, everything that they were showing, if you ask me, it felt like I was watching game show reels from like 2012 to 2015 eras. So I was very disappointed. I'm not gonna lie my darn self. I expected a hell of a lot more from Microsoft, Xbox, Microsoft. So I hope that they do have a lot more in the bucket waiting to release onto their fans. As well, you got State of Decay 3. That was looking pretty darn neat. Again, the graphics could do with a little uplift, but that was something that looked very interesting, something I wouldn't mind getting my hands on to. You had Modern Warfare that looked like it was representing Xbox a little bit as well. You had what was that? RuneScape, Dragon Wild. Again, the graphics were a bit, scrapey, but that was looking pretty darn delicious gameplay wise, guys. So something to keep your eyes on. I would recommend that you guys go and check out the Xbox showcase if you haven't already, because there was most certainly a lot to be looked at. There's a lot of titles there that I haven't even brought out my darn self because there was quite a lot they did have to show, quite a few interesting show reels, quite a few things that I wish they could have spent a little bit more time on. Fable's obviously one that I obviously had a lot of attention on, obviously Tomb Raider, and State of Decay, and also Crossfire. I would like to have seen Moodang or Macdang. I'm not sure if that releases on Xbox, but that's one that I've got my eye on. And obviously the Heroic Prophet. So Intergalactic, the Heroic Prophet, that is one to keep an eye on as well. Anyway, guys, I figured I'd just drop that onto you guys, let you guys know where my minds be. It's your boy Patience. I hope you like what you be seasoning and hurts, and if you did, you leave those thumbs and those likes and those comments down below. And if you have any queries, guys, over and out.